Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Bold and the Beautiful Wednesday, March 26 recap. Ridge breaks Brooke's heart. Carter finds comfort with Daphne. The Bold and the Beautiful B&B recap for Wednesday, March 26, reveals that Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K. broke Brooke Logan's, Catherine Kelly Lang, heart, while Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, found comfort with Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire. Here's how all Wednesday's B&B drama went down. In the Forrester design office, John Finn Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, showed up as Daphne and Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline Messinswood, were discussing Carter. After Finn got confirmation that everything had been squared away regarding the LLC, Steffi and Daphne complained about Hope Logan, Annika Noel, playing the victim. Once Daphne hinted about going to check on something, Steffi wondered if Daphne meant someone instead, and clearly suspected she was on her way to find Carter. At the cabin, Hope refused to buy the idea that Carter could convince the Forresters to restore her line. After Hope ranted about Carter's betrayal, she suggested it was easier for Steffi and the others to blame her instead of him. Since Carter stood by the Forrester family instead of walking out the door with her, Hope remained furious. Carter objected to Hope questioning his loyalty, but she brought up what happened with Daphne as proof that he wasn't so loyal after all. Although Carter wanted to tackle the latest Forrester aftermath together, he ultimately wondered if Hope no longer wanted him because he wasn't in a position to help her. Carter talked about emerging as Hope's knight in shining armor and getting kicked to the curb the second he did something she didn't like. Hope denied manipulating Carter and reminded him that the last time she got the boot at Forrester Creations, he said he wouldn't have let it happen if he'd been there. Now Carter had a front row seat to Hope's latest firing and did nothing, so Hope insisted this was goodbye. Carter ultimately left and wound up looking glum in the design office, where Daphne approached him. Daphne got updates on how things went with Hope and said it was her loss. After Daphne praised Carter for doing the right thing, she admitted she couldn't go back to Paris since she'd never met a man like him before. Carter acknowledged that he was pretty messed up right now, but Daphne felt his heart was broken because he gave it to the wrong person. After Daphne made a prediction about Carter feeling free eventually, she insisted she was there for him and pulled him into a hug. While Hope cried and mulled over Carter memories at the cabin, Steffi talked to Finn about Brooke at the Cliff House. Although Steffi had concerns about Brooke making a play for Ridge, she hoped her dad would stay committed to Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Buddick. In the main office at Forrester Creations, Taylor scoffed over Brooke's lack of class since she was making yet another reunion plea to Ridge. However, Brooke wanted to heal their relationship and once again pushed Ridge to come home. Ridge acknowledged that Brooke would always be his Logan and reflected on how they came back together in Rome. There was still love between them, but Ridge felt it was time to move on from the past and focus on the future. That meant Ridge was going to honor the commitment he made to Taylor, so he chose her and left Brooke in tears as she exited. Taylor had a few tears as well, though they were obviously happy ones since Ridge was standing by her. Ridge and Taylor fell into a warm embrace as they celebrated their love. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Ridge's next chapter could come with some surprises sooner or later, so stay tuned for all the romantic news ahead. The Bold and the Beautiful recap, Wednesday, March 26. The winds of change are sweeping through Los Angeles as the ever-turbulent world of the Bold and the Beautiful shifts once again. On Wednesday, March 26, the viewers were thrust into a whirlwind of emotions, where heartbreak and comfort intertwined in the lives of our beloved characters. Ridge and Brooke's relationship reached a devastating crossroads, while Carter found solace in an unexpected place. Let's break down the highs and lows of this dramatic episode, filled with passion, pain, and unexpected connections. Ridge's heartbreaking decision. The episode kicked off with an electric, tense atmosphere as Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K., found himself standing at a crossroads in his personal life. The man who had long been torn between two powerful women, his wife, Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, and his ex-wife, Taylor Hayes, Krista Allen, was about to make a choice that would echo through the halls of the Forrester mansion for weeks to come. Ridge's eyes, usually full of confidence, were clouded with uncertainty as he tried to figure out where his heart, the optimist, seemed to believe that she and Ridge could finally build the life they had dreamed of. But Ridge's recent behavior, particularly his renewed closeness with Taylor, told a different story. Brooke, sensing the impending storm, sought to reassure herself by confronting Ridge about their future together. What followed was a heartbreaking exchange, filled with raw emotion, where Ridge finally admitted that he could no longer continue living in the shadow of his past. "I love you, Brooke, but I'm not in love with you anymore," Ridge confessed, his voice strained with sorrow. The words cut through the air like a dagger, leaving Brooke stunned and devastated. It was the ultimate betrayal for the woman who had stood by him through thick and thin. Her voice cracked as she struggled to process the pain. Ridge's decision to leave her was not a sudden one. It had been building for months, perhaps even longer. The connection between him and Taylor had grown undeniable, and Ridge had reached a point where he couldn't ignore it any longer. Brooke, still reeling from his words, pleaded for him to reconsider, to remember the love they had shared. But Ridge's heart had already shifted. In a powerful, heart-wrenching moment, he walked away from their marriage, leaving Brooke standing there, broken. As Ridge exited, Brooke sank to her knees, her world crashing down around her. The woman who had always fought for her family found herself powerless in the face of Ridge's unyielding resolve. The pain on Brooke's face was palpable, and for the first time in a long while, it seemed like Brooke Logan, the iconic matriarch of the Logan family, was utterly defeated. The future that once seemed so bright and full of promise was now clouded with doubt and loss. Carter's comfort in Daphne's arms. Meanwhile, across town, Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, was experiencing a much-needed reprieve from the emotional chaos. After his heartbreak with Quinn Forrester, Rena Sofer, Carter had been struggling to pick up the pieces of his life. His love for Quinn had been all-consuming, and when she chose Eric, John McCook, over him, Carter's heart had shattered. But on this particular day, it seemed that Carter was ready to move forward, at least a little bit. Enter Daphne, played by the talented Carla Mosley, an old friend who had recently returned to town. Daphne, who had always been a source of calm and kindness in Carter's life, seemed to understand the weight of his pain better than anyone else. The two shared a quiet, intimate moment, their chemistry palpable as they talked about life, love, and the twists and turns that had brought them to this moment. Daphne listened attentively as Carter spoke about his emotional struggles, acknowledging the depth of his feelings for Quinn, while encouraging him to open his heart to the possibility of new beginnings. She wasn't trying to erase Quinn from his mind. She understood that the healing process would take time, but she offered Carter a glimmer of hope. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Carter leaned on Daphne, allowing her to comfort him in a way that he hadn't allowed anyone else to do. As the two shared a tender embrace, it was clear that Carter was beginning to find solace in Daphne's presence. Her warmth and kindness were exactly what Carter needed in this time of emotional upheaval. The connection between them was undeniable, and it seemed that this friendship might be on the cusp of blossoming into something more. In that moment, Carter was no longer the lonely, heartbroken man he had been when he first arrived in Los Angeles. Daphne's gentle understanding was offering him a chance to heal, and perhaps even love again. A day of emotional contrasts. While Ridge's decision to leave Brooke was a moment of deep sorrow and regret, Carter's encounter with Daphne represented a new chapter, filled with hope and the potential for future happiness. The episode expertly balanced the emotional contrasts of both storylines, pulling viewers in with the rawness of heartbreak, while offering the possibility of healing through unexpected connections. The tensions in Ridge and Brooke's marriage had been simmering for months, but it wasn't until this moment that their relationship truly came to an end. Ridge's emotional disconnect from Brooke had grown over time, and despite her best efforts to salvage their marriage, he couldn't deny the pull he felt toward Taylor. This painful choice, made with a heavy heart, not only marked the end of their marriage, but also set the stage for what promises to be a dramatic next chapter in the love triangle between Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor. Meanwhile, Carter's journey of healing through Daphne's support was a poignant reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always room for growth and renewal. While he had once been deeply entangled in the drama of Quinn and Eric's complicated relationship,